Welcome back to another income portfolio update, showing all of the income I receive outside of my work salary. In this video, I'll give you an update on the dividends I received in June and my dividend stock portfolio in general, including any stocks that I've bought or sold. I'll also discuss my premium bond position and what I won in the June prize draw. And finally, I'll run through my income and expenditure for my real estate investments. What I'm trying to do on this channel is to build a portfolio of cash flow generating assets that pay me each month, and these monthly videos show how I'm progressing. Let's get straight into the numbers. Firstly, looking at my dividends. In June, I received £617.86 from 14 different companies. This is a massive increase of £238.53 from last year's June total of £379.33. The June total last year was my previous largest month, but has been blown away by this year's total. June is my largest payment month of the year, but the total of £618 really shocked me. This is my largest ever dividend total since I started investing, and I've received more this month than I received over the whole of 2020. Comparing last year's June dividends to this year's, I have sold out of ExxonMobil and Enbridge, but they were small holdings and didn't pay me that much. Since last year, I've also added Trig, and PepsiCo paid me in July last year rather than June this year. It's probably no surprise that the main increases in dividends were from my ETFs, as these are my largest holdings and the positions that I add the most to. EUHD is £75 higher, HDLG £18 higher, VHYL £32 higher, and VOOC £56 higher. That's £180 more than last June. So how do my dividends look if we zoom out and look at the totals? This graph shows how much I've received at this point during the last few years. From January to June 2023, I'd received £862.14. But from January to June this year, I've received £377.94 more, with a total of £1,240.08. Again, this really surprised me to see how much my dividends have grown by. In fact, that total of £1,240.08 after 6 months this year is more than double what I received in my first year of dividend investing in 2020. It's also more than what I got over the whole of 2021 as well, and isn't too far off the 2022 total. Let's now look at this graph, which shows all of the dividends that I've ever received. And we can see that the numbers keep increasing year on year as I keep contributing and reinvesting my dividends. We can also see those huge spikes in June. There are a lot of monthly fluctuations just due to the different payment dates of my holdings. This is why I prefer to just focus on monthly averages rather than individual months. So for 2024, I'm currently averaging £206.68 a month, which is way above my 2023 average of £151.01. This is just because my largest payment months are March, June, September and December, so I do expect this average to drop back down over July and August. And if we look at the average at this point last year, we can see that it was £143.69. So it's motivating to see that the year-to-date average has increased by £62.99, which again is really pleasing to see the progress. However, to get a more accurate analysis of the average, I'll have to wait and see what the full year average ends up as. All dividends received are always reinvested back into the portfolio to buy more shares that will pay more dividends, and then I just allow the compounding process to do its work. Now let's have a deeper look at my stock portfolio that generates these dividends. It currently stands at £66,218 invested. The market value is largely irrelevant to me, as I don't ever plan on selling any of the principal. As a dividend investor, I'm only ever interested in the income that the portfolio generates through dividends, which are always reinvested back into the portfolio. Being fully transparent as always, here are all of my positions, showing all unrealised gains and losses. Let's now look at how much I deposited into my portfolio over June. Once again, I managed to contribute another £1,667. I'm really pleased with how consistent that I've been this year, and how I've been able to manage my cash in a way that allows me to invest this amount, but without penny pinching and having my personal and social life suffer. You never know what life might throw at me, but I'm hoping to carry on investing this amount long into the future. This will mean that I'll max out my 20k per year ISA allowance and keep all dividends and capital gains tax-free. Being able to do this will really help to turbocharge the snowball effect of building this portfolio and really start to ramp up my dividend amounts each year. I'm only 4 years into this investing journey, so the effects of compounding won't be as visible as they'll be in the latter stages, as we can see from this example compound interest graph. The green bars represent a 10k contribution each year, shown cumulatively, and the purple bars represent the cumulative interest at 5%. I really like this as a visual example, as it clearly shows that the latter stages are where the magic happens, and you can clearly see the interest really ramping up. This is a typical compound interest curve that starts quite flat and then gets steeper and steeper as time goes on. Have a look at the difference between the green and purple bars initially. There's a large gap between the two for a number of years. But then, over time, the gap gets shorter and shorter as the effects of compound interest take hold. The larger that the portfolio becomes from the contributions and reinvested interest, the larger the interest payments become. And eventually, the interest payments actually exceed the contributions. So I try and remind myself that sometimes it might not feel worthwhile in the initial stages, but the maths will pay off in later years. This is my long-term approach, and all I need to do is stick to my plan of contributing each month and reinvesting all dividends. As I mentioned in other update videos, when I deposit each month, I don't always buy shares straight away, and tend to wait until prices look appealing to me and my positions. I'm not trying to time the market over long periods, but just prefer to hold some cash back in the event of any short-term drops. Trading 212 also offer 5.2% per annum on uninvested cash, which is paid daily. So I do still earn on my deposited cash, even if I'm not putting it into the market just yet. If you want to sign up to Trading 212, I've put a link in the description. With the June deposit, I now have £4,831 in cash and earned £15.17 in interest over the month. Let's now look at how my total amount invested has grown from zero over time, using this graph. The graph is maintaining its upward trajectory, which shows how consistent I've been over the years in adding to my portfolio each and every month. You can also see this line steepening over the last few months, as my contributions have gone from around £900 per month to £1,667 a month this year. It's important to mention that I don't do anything special or anything complicated. I just stay disciplined, pay myself first by contributing every month when I get paid my salary, and reinvesting every penny that I get in dividends. If you're interested, I have a number of videos on my channel where I talk about how I personally try to reduce expenditure and increase my income, which in turn allows me to contribute these amounts every month. These regular contributions are a key part of my overall strategy, to keep feeding the portfolio, which increases my dividends and accelerates the compounding process. So let's have a look at the stocks that I've been buying over June. I've spent £2,013 this month, adding to my existing positions and again boosting my ETFs. I bought 46 shares of EUHD, my European dividend ETF, for a total of £1,004. I also bought 38 shares of HDLG, my US dividend ETF, for a total of £1,009. Both of these buys will add around £98 to my yearly dividend total. After these purchases, this means that the overall yield for my portfolio as a whole currently sits at 3.76%, which has increased from 3.73% in my last update. This equates to around £2,493 per year in predicted dividends, £208 per month, £48 per week, and £6.83 a day. There will always be a discrepancy between my actual dividends received and my predicted dividends, just due to the timing of me purchasing shares and then being eligible through the ex-date of the dividends. I hold all of my shares in the Trading 212 app, using a stocks and shares ISA, which means that all capital gains and dividends are tax-free, as I'm based in the UK. As mentioned earlier, you can also get 5.2% per year on all uninvested cash. If you are interested in starting a portfolio with Trading 212, I do have a link in the description where you can use my code, and we'll both get a free share worth up to £100. And if you wanted to, you can just sell that share straight away and pocket the cash. So let's now have a look at how I'm comparing to my forecast. If you've watched my other portfolio updates this year, you'll know that I've created a forecast that I'm tracking my progress against. As a qualified accountant, this is something that I'm used to doing in my day job, so replicating this for my personal finances just makes sense to me. Forecasting allows me to do a couple of things that are important to me on this investing journey. Number 1, to track my actual performance versus my forecast, and number 2, to provide motivation to carry on doing what I'm doing, as the forecast allows me to see what this portfolio could become in the future. So let's now see how I'm doing. Over June, I forecast to add £1,667, and as mentioned earlier, I have contributed that amount again. 6 out of 6 completed so far with the deposits. Being one of the largest dividend months for me in the year, I forecasted to receive £437, and actually received £618, which was £181 more than expected. So if we add up my invested total plus my cash total, this comes to £71,050. After 6 months, I'm still in a good place to end the year at the 80k portfolio target. And I'm still around 2k ahead of schedule right now, so should easily hit that 80k target if I simply carry on doing what I'm doing. If I can finish the year with around 80k invested, it means that going into 2025, the portfolio will be generating a dividend of around £250 per month. And this keeps me on course to hit 100k by the end of 2025. It's really inspiring to see that if I just keep doing what I'm doing, by the end of 2028, I could have a portfolio generating nearly £500 a month in dividends. Let's now have a look at what I received for my premium bonds in the June prize draw. My premium bonds are my emergency fund. They're a low-risk investment where you're entered into a monthly prize draw where you can win between £25 and £1 million tax-free. I do find these draws fun, and I do look forward to the monthly draw and seeing if I've won or not. The more that you have invested, the more chances that you have to win. And any wins that I do have are just automatically reinvested into buying more premium bonds. I won £100 last month, which was reinvested, so I now have £16,300 invested of the £50,000 maximum that you're allowed. After my luck being out for a few months, I've managed to win again, with another £150 received. That makes it £400 for the year in premium bond wins, which I think is really nice. As this is my emergency fund, I actually withdrew £650 in February to pay for some garden renovation work. So for my premium bonds to have paid me £400 so far, it's nearly paid that work off for me. The £150 June prize is automatically invested back into buying more premium bonds. So I'll be going into next month's draw with £16,450. I also invest in real estate and currently rent out 2 buy-to-let properties and a secure car parking space. So over June, this is what the numbers look like. The rental income has stayed the same. I get £1,000 a month for my 2-bedroom flat and £775 for my 1-bedroom flat. I also get £80 a month for renting out the parking space. The management fee has stayed the same, as has the mortgage. I mentioned in last month's update that I have now fixed my mortgage again, as my current deal runs out in July, so you'll see this amount increase by around £80 in August. However, I'm thinking of using the rental profits this year to make overpayments and pay down my mortgage as much as I can, which will bring my monthly mortgage cost down and increase my profits. Now looking at the repairs and maintenance for the month, it's pleasing to see that I haven't had any more repair bills. Therefore, my pre-tax profit over June is £1,004.90. That concludes my monthly update, and this is the summary for the month, with £1,787.93 received. This is a lot higher than last month, mainly due to the dividends being around 6 times more than they were last month, plus the nice premium bond win. I do document my investing journey on this channel, and you can see how this has been progressing if you go back and watch some of my earlier videos. If you are interested in following along, please subscribe to the channel to make sure that you don't miss any future updates. And if you have enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, as it does help the channel out a lot, and it's something that I really do appreciate. So I hope I've covered everything that you wanted to hear, but if not, feel free to drop me a question in the comments section below. I'll be reading and responding to every message that I can. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.